What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and this is my full review of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. After using it for almost 2 months, I was actually lucky enough to get this a little bit earlier, and I really enjoyed using it. A lot of you guys will know that in these videos, I don't go over specs. Those have been covered in my unboxing video, which I'll link in the cards and in the description. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience, what I like about the iPhone 11 Pro Max, what I don't like about it, what I think can be improved. This might be a long one, but I'll try to include some timestamps in the pinned comment below. Now initially, let's talk about the build and design. This, I would say, is an incremental update for design. It's nothing drastically new. We do have this matte finish back, which I do like, and I do prefer it to the glossy back that we had initially. But then we've got this sort of square camera module, which I know a lot of people are not huge fans of. I don't mind it hugely, but let's be real here. I don't think this is gonna be winning any design awards. There's lots of other devices out there this year which look a lot better in my opinion. But generally speaking, it's a pretty decent design, and realistically speaking, I think most people are gonna be throwing a case on here anyway. If you want a case recommendation, I would definitely recommend a grip case from our channel sponsor dbrand. It's gonna give you some great protection and grip, but what's unique about the grip series is that you can customize it and you can pick up a few skins and change them up whenever you get bored. I'll be leaving a link to dbrand in the description below. Now we do have an improved IP rating. You are going to be able to submerge this into water more than other devices. I'm not somebody who takes this swimming, to be honest, but I have used it out in the rain and it's been absolutely fine. Now, if we move over on to the front, once again, the design hasn't really changed. And if you are to put this side by side with the iPhone XS or the iPhone X even, then the front is pretty much exactly the same. So it does look like Apple is going for a 3-year upgrade cycle when it comes to the design. Maybe next year we'll see much more of a drastic design change. Now, design aside, this display is very, very good, and it has been improved compared to last year. I really like this. It's got great viewing angles, it's very sharp, the colors are great, and it's also brighter compared to last year. So if you're using this outdoors in sunlight, it's going to perform really, really well. And I actually did do a test. I had the Google Pixel 4 next to this, and the Pixel 4 is very, very dim in comparison. So although this might not have a 90 Hz refresh rate, the brightness is definitely a big selling point, and it's something that I definitely do like. There is, however, no 3D touch this year around. Now, honestly speaking, I haven't missed it too much. The area where I used to use 3D touch most was on the keyboard, and this was to move the cursor around. This is the area where I found it most useful. You can still do that by pressing down on the spacebar. It did take me some time to get used to, but 3D touch hasn't been something that I've personally missed too much. It might be something that you do miss. Now, within this notch is of course Face ID, and it has been noticeably improved compared to last year. It's faster and it's more accurate. It works with many more angles. One of the things that I've complained about before when it comes to Face ID is I'm somebody who uses my phone in bed. It's probably not the best habit, but if I have my face kind of on my pillow, then what I traditionally found is that I'd have to kind of move out to unlock the phone using Face ID. But now Face ID actually works in many situations, and it seems to be that accurate that it can actually grab most of your face data, even if it's slightly covered, and it definitely works from many more angles. It's actually much better, in my opinion, to the Google Pixel, which is faster, but it's nowhere near as accurate, and it doesn't work from as many angles. This still doesn't unlock if it's flat on the surface. It still needs to be slightly angled towards you, but nevertheless, it has definitely been improved, and I really do like it. Let's now talk about the cameras, and I just want to say that when it comes to an all-round camera package, in my opinion, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the best on the market right now. It might not be the absolute best for everything, but it does everything really, really well. Let me break this down and explain. So starting off with video, hands down, the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the best video on any smartphone right now. I've said this before, you've heard many others say it before as well. It can support extended dynamic range at all the way up to 4K 60 frames a second. That's from all cameras, including the front-facing camera. A lot of other smartphones really start falling apart when you go to those frame rates, and they don't even offer those frame rates. So for video, I really, really like the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And for images, once again, very consistent across all of the cameras. Colors are great, they're not overly saturated. Dynamic range is also very, very good. And we've got a lot of versatility this time as well with the primary, telephoto as well as the ultra-wide camera. This year, for the first time, we also have the night mode. This really does improve low light photography, something that I've been talking about for a long time. And I'm glad that Apple has taken all of that feedback on board. Now we have a night mode. It does work really well, and in lots of situations, I actually preferred it to something like the Pixel. However, as always, there is room for improvement, and a few of the things that I would like to see with hopefully some software updates or maybe on the next version. Firstly, night mode only triggers automatically. If the iPhone decides that you can use night mode, that's only when you're going to be able to use night mode. I'd like to trigger this manually, so if there is a situation that's maybe not that dark, but I really do want to get out the details there, then I can switch that on. That's something that you can't do right now. It's going to do that automatically. The ultra-wide camera has no night mode. So if you want to take an ultra-wide shot in relatively low light, then you can pretty much forget about it. And although I really do like the ultra-wide camera on the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I don't think it's as good as the competition. I think the Note 10 Plus, for example, has a better ultra-wide camera. It's a little bit wider and it's also sharper. You do get some softness on the ultra-wide camera here, and it's definitely not as good as the primary camera. And I really do like portraits from the iPhone 11 Pro Max, especially from that telephoto lens, which is the equivalent of around 50mm. However, edge detection is not perfect. There's lots of areas where it sometimes will miss the blur. So for instance, if it's between your arms or anything like that, this is something that I think a lot of other cameras that have a dedicated time of flight depth sensor do a better job of. So I'm hoping these things can be improved. Having said that, once again, I want to emphasize that as an overall camera package, so I'm talking video, I'm talking the versatility of the triple cameras, the consistency between the cameras, which a lot of other manufacturers don't do well, the front-facing camera, the dynamic range, the colors, all of these things, when you look at them all together, then I believe that the iPhone 11 Pro Max is currently the best package out there. Right, now let's talk a little bit about performance. Apple is not big on specs. They don't even tell you how much RAM the iPhone 11 Pro Max has. So clearly that's not important to them. What is important is that this has the Apple A13 Bionic chip, which is super fast. I've had no problems in terms of speed and performance. It's been very snappy, and I'm confident that this is going to last a good few years if you are going to be picking this up. One of the reasons why it works so well is because Apple makes both the hardware as well as the software. So we do have iOS 13, and I've had a really good experience with iOS 13 overall. I've not really had many bugs or crashes like some others have reported. It's been a very smooth experience for me, and there's lots of welcome improvements. My biggest welcome improvement, which is about 10 years too late, is the ability to change the resolution of your video within the camera app and not have to go through deep settings to be able to do that. Like, come on, how long has it been since we've got this? But nevertheless, we finally got it. There's a little icon here on the side, and you can just tap on it to change the resolution and your frame rates. But it is still iOS, it's still very simple. I know a lot of people do like that. But one thing that I would like to see from Apple is a take on better one-handed usage when it comes to the operating system, especially considering how big the screen size is on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This is something that lots of other manufacturers have done really well. So take Samsung's One UI, for example, or Oxygen OS from OnePlus. They do take into consideration that if you are using the device with one hand, kind of moves everything, all the icons, towards the bottom of the screen, so you're not always having to reach up. This is very much still that grid icon setup, which I would like to customize a little bit. I'd like to kind of leave the top space empty, maybe with the time or some widgets, and then have the bottom area where I have all my icons, which I can reach very easily. So hopefully this is something that we may or may not see. But then again, if you're familiar with iOS, you're going to be right at home here. I also really like dark mode. You guys have heard me talk about dark mode a lot. This just makes a lot of things easier on the eye, especially if you're viewing the phone in darker situations. And it also helps with battery life. And let's talk about the battery life. The iPhone 11 Pro Max has amazing battery life. There's been a big improvement. I've definitely noticed it. And there's not been a single day when I've run out of battery life towards the end of the day. Actually, a lie. There was one day when I was playing Call of Duty continuously for like 6 hours. And then the battery did die and I had to charge it up. But apart from that one situation, this has been really good for battery life. I mean, I think it's going to get pretty much everyone through the full day. And finally, Finally, Apple are now including a fast charger out of the box. Something else that I've been ranting about for a long time. Now, this is an 18-watt fast charger, which is fast, but nowhere near as fast as like 65-watt chargers that we're seeing from some of the competition. Nevertheless, it is still nice to have that fast charging speed. And honestly speaking, I have very rarely used the wide charger to charge this up. And that's because we do have Qi wireless charging. So my usage through the day lasts me all day and I don't necessarily need to plug it in. And before I go to bed, I just drop this on my wireless charger. I wake up and it's at 100%. And that's kind of my routine. And if you currently own one of the new iPhones or own any phone for that matter that supports wireless charging and you don't have a wireless charger, I don't know why you don't have one. Once you kind of know that convenience and once you have one on your bedside table, you really notice how much of a difference it makes. I'll try to leave some links to some of my favorite wireless chargers in the description below. They're very inexpensive and they make such a big difference. Now, touching on the audio, we still have stereo speakers. So one is in the earpiece, one is bottom firing, and the sound has been very good. We've got improved spatial audio. If you're consuming a lot of media on here, then I think you're going to enjoy that experience. Now, finally, let's talk about pricing and storage. So this is definitely very pricey, especially in the UK. You're looking at £1,150, and that's for a 64GB base model. So that's something that I'm not too happy about. I think Apple should have gone in with at least 128 gigs. Now, I kind of get it. It's a business decision. Most people will opt for going for maybe the 256GB option instead of the 64GB option, and that option is more tempting considering that we're only starting at 64 gigs. But if you are going to be shooting lots of 4K video on here, then you are going to eat through that 64 gigs very quickly. So you are going to have to go for the 256GB option or the 512GB option, which is going close to £1,500. So of course, this is very pricey. However, if you are looking for the best iPhone, then this is it. The iPhone 11 Pro Max. If you are on a bit of a budget and you want a lot of the features that you have here, minus a few, then the iPhone 11 is actually a really good option, especially for the much lower price points. I am going to be covering that in an upcoming review video. If you want to see that first, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss it. But if you are after the best iPhone money can buy and you do have the money to buy this, then this is definitely the one to go for. It might not be perfect, but it does lots of things very well. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV. I'll see you next time.